Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'll be exposing exactly how to run Facebook and Instagram ads for both ecom brands as well as service-based businesses. Now, whether you're an agency owner or a business owner looking to learn how to run Facebook and Instagram ads, this video is going to be going over absolutely everything you need to know. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Guys, so here we are in the ads manager, and before we get into any sort of fresh campaign setups, I'm actually going to be showing you guys two live examples, one of a service-based business lead gen campaign as well as an e-com campaign. Okay, now the first one here is actually my own personal detailing company. I've generated 17 leads at $11 cost per lead. We spent just a little under $200, and the e-com campaign I currently have set up for one of my clients has now generated them over $144,000 this month so far. Okay, now we're going to be going over the campaign setup. I'm not going to be able to show too much as far as creatives and the offer goes, but be sure you guys as much as I humanly can. Okay, not wasting any more time, let's dive straight into this campaign setup. Guys, so here we are in the campaign details. Our buying type is set to auction. Our campaign objective is set to leads. The campaign budget is set at $50 a day. Okay, now your budget for ads solely revolves around about how expensive your service is. Okay, if you are doing car detailing like me, for example, where we're charging maybe $200 to $300 a car, we could easily spend $50 a day and see a decent amount of leads come in. Okay, if you're doing something like roofing, for example, okay, or HVAC, you're going to need to spend a lot more to acquire a lead, right? Obviously, because it's a more expensive service, it's going to need to find those people that are, I guess, able to afford those services or really looking for those services specifically. Okay, so I just want to give you a little bit of information on that. We have A/B tests set off. Special ad categories does not apply to us whatsoever. On the ad set level, we have our conversion location on instant forms. Is essentially just a little form that the people fill out when they are interested in your services. I'll show you guys what one looks like shortly, as well as the settings I'm using right now. The Facebook page we have set up right now is for Value Detailer. The performance goal is maximum number of leads. Okay, there is another option for a maximized number of conversion leads. Now, that essentially just niches down the chances of getting a lead, which is going to make your CPL a lot higher. I personally like the maximum number of leads because it doesn't matter whether they're considered, I guess, a good or a bad lead. You can convert any lead out there so long as you have good sales skills. So that's ultimately what it comes down to. Okay, now you don't need to worry about any of this right here. We have dynamic creative off. Catalog does not matter because this is not a product, this is a service. Budget strategy, as far as your schedule goes, this does not matter at all whatsoever. This is completely up to you. As for the audience, though, we are running Advanced Plus, but we did further limit the reach of your ads. I don't know why I always do it. I just seen better results with this and running a full complete Advanced Plus campaign setup. We are doing 18 through 65. This is locations we are running for the detailing company. It's Gilbert, 10 miles, Scottsdale, 15 miles, Tempe, 10 miles. Okay, that's the surrounding areas and all the places we are currently servicing right now. We don't have any sort of custom audiences at all whatsoever. Zero detail targeting and all languages. Okay, this does not matter. Placements, we're running Advanced Plus on because it's pretty transparent. Like, we want Instagram, we want Facebook, we want all that sort of good stuff. So we do not need to touch that one bit. Okay, the actual ad itself. All right, we'll go to the lead form here in a second. Starting from the top, though, we have the Facebook and Instagram linked. Of course, we want to make sure that they are very similar names because at the end of the day, it just looks a little bit more credible, more trustworthy. All right, now the destination, obviously, like I said, is that lead form, which we'll go over here in a second. You can actually automate the lead delivery into a Google Sheets or a CRM, like go high level. Honestly, I'm just having one of my reps go out and call up all the leads straight through directly through the Facebook Ads Manager. So we just don't do that. The lead nurturing, we have chat on Messenger and chat on Instagram. So every time somebody fills out a lead form, they immediately send a notification to my Instagram account as if they just texted me on Instagram. So I can immediately call them up, have that good speed to lead there, close them, and just get a little bit more additional information. Okay. The chat builder here just pretty much explains exactly, whatever. I'm going to obviously blur out the phone number here. Here, we obviously have the primary text, which is honestly, truthfully, all ChatGPT generated. We have an offer of 25% off for a select customers. Now, so this is what one of the ad creatives essentially looks like.
When was the last time you had your car detailed, not just washed? Here at Valley Detailer, we take care of anything from Fords to Ferraris. If it's on four wheels, we can clean it. We're located right in the Valley of Arizona, and we service the entire area. And for a limited time, the first 8 people to fill out the form below are going to get 25% off their first detail. The deal is offered to a limited number of clients, so once spots are gone, then they're gone. If you want your car looking brand new again from Ford to Ferrari, fill out the form below and book your detail right now.
Okay, so it's very easy, very simple to understand essentially what the ad is about. It has an exact format that we follow pretty much every single time, which is essentially like an intro. We have where we are servicing. what we do essentially, as well as some sort of offer and a CTA to end it off. All right, that pretty much covered everything right there in this video. Is it the best creative? No. Okay, I did this myself because I just wanted to get these ads out and see what would happen. And to be honest with you, they're doing a lot better than I expected. Okay, so the primary text, the headline, and the description are all generated by ChatGPT, to be completely honest with you guys. That's what you guys are going to want to do for the three of those. To be honest with you, it's just the easiest way. It looks professional, it looks clean, it gets exactly what you're trying to get across. Okay, the call to action is obviously set to book now because we are trying to get these people to book a detail. Okay, now there's a whole bunch of different variants here, like apply now, download, get in touch, whatever, but I recommend doing book now. Okay, this is the settings we have right here for the Advantage Plus, I guess, creative enhancements. We don't have any sort of creative testing on. We don't have the CRM or app events in it right now. And this is what the form looks like. Okay, so claim 25% off professional mobile detailing for a limited time. Select customers can receive $25 off their detail. Fill out the form below to check whatever, right? Now we have pretty much a 4 questionnaire right here. We have interior detail, exterior detail, full detail. Not sure, I'd like a recommendation. You fill that out, explain the condition of the car. You can pause and look through these as well. When would you like your car detailed? Pretty much just kind of finding like urgency and like when they're actually trying to get in, whether they're a qualified lead or they're just somebody who's kind of like looking around. The contact information, and then pretty much a privacy policy. And at the end here, it's going to show the phone number, so I'm not going to show that, but essentially just saying like, hey, contact us if we need a little bit more information, all that sort of good stuff. Okay. Same thing goes for this right here. This is literally the exact same text and everything. It's just a different video. It's pretty much the exact same clips, just different talking. But yeah, this has worked really great for us so far. It's super high converting. I'm obviously going to redo these ads. We honestly just been testing for the past 4 days. It's at $11 cost per lead. Honestly, I've had campaigns before go down to like $6 cost per lead, even sometimes lower. So we're obviously just going to be dialing the process a lot better, make it look a lot more credible. Obviously, it is a fresh Instagram and Facebook page too, which also doesn't really help us because it's only one post, and the website isn't the best either. So I obviously need to work on those, get a little bit more dialed in. But this is exactly how I'd set up a lead gen campaign pretty much for most service-based businesses. But I just want to show you a live example before we get into an actual fresh lead gen campaign setup, which we're about to do right now. Guys, so now I'm going to show you how to set up a fresh campaign. Start off by hitting this big green button right here that says create. You're going to go to leads. You're going to leave this on auction right here. You're going to click continue. It's going to lead you to this page right here, which we already seen prior to this. The name does not matter whatsoever. Buying type is going to be an auction. Campaign objective is going to be for leads. Campaign budget, $25 up to $50 or more. Just kind of depends on what your budget is. And obviously the niche, as what I mentioned earlier. If it's a higher ticket service, you're going to want to put a lot more money into ads. Okay. If it's a lower ticket service, you can put lower and still see a decent cost per lead. Okay. A/B test is going to be off. We do not worry about special ad categories. We're going to go here. The conversion location is going to be on instant forms. Make sure you link the right Facebook page. The performance goal is going to be maximum number of leads. Okay. Now it's going to give you this another one option right here that says maximum number of conversion leads, which I talked about earlier. It's going to say, oh, we're going to try to show this to the people that are most likely to convert. Okay. I recommend leaving this on maximum number of leads. You can do conversion if you really want to split test them, but I've always just rock with maximum number of leads. Okay. You don't need to worry about this right here. Dynamic creative is not important. You don't worry about catalog. This is also not really that important. You could just schedule it out. I don't ever recommend to set an end date, literally ever, because I mean, why would you end the ads, especially if they're doing good? If you want to end them, you can just turn them off in the ads manager. Okay. Now for the audience, this is a very important section right here. Okay. Now it is going to be on Advantage Plus, and this is what it's going to look like. All right. This is not what you want it to look like. This is very like set to what Facebook's idea of a good audience is, but we're not really niching it down to what we want. All right. So for example, what I mentioned earlier is I said further limit the reach of your ads. So you're going to click this right here. Now it's going to give you 3 options. You can either stay in the current setup, which is their best setting where it's going to be 9% lower cost based on our experiment. That does not matter. Once again, apply the value rules. No, doesn't matter. Okay. You want to do further limit the reach of your ads because you can really dial in your audience. Okay. See, for example, 18 through 65, our location, which I didn't mention earlier. But let's say, for example, you have a window cleaning company in Arizona. So you want to target Scottsdale, for example. Okay. You type in Scottsdale, Arizona. And it's going to drop this blue little pin in that area that you selected. And you can pretty much just choose the radius here from anywhere from 10 miles to, I believe it's like 50 miles. Yep. So I would honestly recommend that you do very, very like small blue circles because that's going to be the area. And you can see how wide this already is right here. It's a Scottsdale, Arizona plus 11 miles. Within that drop point, it says there's already 1.4 to 1.7 million people in. So you should be able to see some pretty solid leads within that. Obviously, if it's a smaller location and you're not doing as many cities, you're probably not going to be able to expect as much leads because it's not as big as a audience, okay? Now, like I said, let's just say we set this at like 10, for example, okay? Or 11, whatever. And we wanted to target something like over here, like surprise, for example, okay? We could also do that. So it's only going to show the ads to these people in this area, all right? So now it's going to show to surprise, and it's going to show to Scottsdale area. Now we have a blue pin right here, shows the surrounding area of what we're going to be targeting. As you guys can see right here in surprise, it says +1 mile. If I want to do like maybe like 10 here, for example, it shows you these big blue pins and shows you exactly where your ads are going to be placed at, okay? Now I usually check off more people that are likely to respond. I usually just leave that on. Now, as for age, it kind of just depends on the niche here, like I mentioned earlier. If it's something where like it's targeted towards homeowners, right? You're probably not going to be targeting people that are around the 18 area, maybe not even around the 20s area. You might want to do like mid 20s, like maybe 25 plus, okay? Now, in situations like this where I was doing like the car detailing, I just left it through 18 to 65 because Facebook will ultimately find your audience for you, okay? A lot of people like to say, well, what if I just do like, you know, for example, a roofing company and we said at 35 to 65, right? To be honest with you, I know it sounds crazy, but I like to experiment and just leave it at 18 through 65 because Facebook will ultimately find your audience for you. Will it maybe take a little bit longer? Yes, but it can really weed out the people that it doesn't want within that audience, okay? So it's ultimately up to you. If you want to kind of niche it down to the age that you think it's going to be around, completely fine. That's usually just what I recommend, all right? Now, for gender, this is also a very important one, okay? You got to think that most of these services or whatever you're going to be offering, both men and women are going to be buying it. So you could just leave it on all. But there are certain situations, like for example, maybe a nail salon, okay? You could probably target primarily women because that's going to be maybe 98% of your actual like target audience, right? Because of course there might be some men within there, but your ideal audience would be more towards the people that you're actually trying to target, right? If it's a nail salon, you're probably going to want to do women, but in other services, it can just be left on all, okay? Custom audience, we are not going to be running here. We'll get into that in a completely different video, and to be honest with you, I like running broad campaigns 99% of the time, okay? Detail targeting, I just leave this on broad as well. No sort of detail targeting whatsoever. Leave it on all languages. Ad transparency, this does not matter. Placements, I leave this on Advanced Plus, okay? Now, make sure you link the correct Facebook and Instagram page here. Obviously, you want to leave on either, I mean, this is completely up to you. You could do either carousel or single image or video. Choice is up to you, okay? I always like recommending running video specifically for service-based businesses. It just is a lot higher converting. Images are okay, like stills are fine, but it has to be a very, very, very solid still. I don't recommend using any sort of AI or anything like that because people are going to be able to spot it immediately. They're going to get immediately turned off, okay? So I do leave multi-advertiser ads on. The destination is obviously to that lead form, which I already showed you guys earlier. You guys can do other things like quality filters, like require SMS to submit a form, which means essentially if they want to submit that form, they have to do like a 2FA kind of text where it sends a message to their phone. They have to put in the code just to confirm that they're an actual real person. It's not spam or bots or anything like that. I also have that enabled on the campaign. I don't know why I wasn't showing it earlier, but I have that enabled on the campaign as well, just to make sure that I'm not getting any sort of bots or people that are trying to spam the actual form, okay? Once again, we talked about this as well. If you want to get all your leads into something that's a little bit easier, like Google Sheets, you can set up a Google Sheets, link it up. This is extremely easy to set up. Same thing for the CRM. You can link it into like Go High Level, which I would highly recommend if you're not using that, because it's just a lot easier to manage the leads. You can call them through there. You can text them through there. It's honestly just like the best ideal situation. We are currently using Homebase for this right now, and it's just perfectly fine for what we're doing, okay? Lead nurturing, which I mentioned earlier, you can, every time somebody essentially fills out your form, you can have a chat on Messenger. It'll pop on Messenger. It'll try it on Instagram, maybe even WhatsApp, okay? It just honestly depends. But I usually just leave these two on, and obviously the instant form itself, which is what they apply for. You can see the information on there directly through the ads manager. So yeah, obviously the chat builder just kind of depends up to you. You don't really need this right here. This is just kind of like your built-in automation. You can change this as well. I'm not going to show it because it does leak the phone number. But yeah, you can ask like some frequently asked questions right here. Of course, this shows you the lead form, which I set up earlier. Ad creative is the actual ad creative itself. Okay. So I recommend, like I said earlier, running a video. That's usually the highest converting by far. But that's ultimately up to you what you want to do. And you can select the enhancements and stuff in there. And then once that's done, you'll be able to set up the primary text, the headline, and the description, which I mentioned earlier. Generally, just give it a little bit of information, maybe talk to ChatGPT, and then it'll create all three of those for you completely free. Same thing, again, what I mentioned earlier, if you want to link it to a CRM or app events, you can absolutely do that as well. But it's essentially a easy way to set up a lead gen campaign for pretty much any sort of service out there. Of course, it's already tailored towards my detailing company, which I mentioned earlier, but this applies for literally any lead gen business out there. Okay. So that's exactly how you would set up a fresh campaign for your lead gen business, whether you're a marketing agency owner or a business owner. Okay. If you guys have any sort of questions on this one, make sure to shoot them down below. Now we're going to be getting over to my ecom client who's generated a little bit over $144,000 this month with me and my marketing agency. So let's get straight into that next. So before I actually get into this campaign I'm about to show you right now, I'm going to actually show you guys the numbers and the proof behind this, okay? This month so far, January 1st through January 27, 2026, $152,000 generated. As you guys can see, do a little refresh real quick. So yeah, now I'm actually going to show you guys the actual campaign behind this and just break it all down for you guys. Okay, so here we are with one of my clients' accounts. As you can see right here, we have spent $43,000 in the last 30 days. You've had 15,000 purchases at a $2.84 cost per purchase. Now I do want to give you a little bit of information, okay? Now this product has various pricing and they do subscriptions as well. That is why this is like so low, okay? But even so, I mean, 15,000 purchases is extremely impressive. And obviously we spent $43,000 to make back a little bit over 150K. So the ROAS on that there is pretty good. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to kind of break down exactly what I did to generate these numbers right here for my clients. We have three campaigns actually active right now. We are experimenting with AI creatives. We have some example ones that did really good back in the day. And then we also have some that I actually generated and filmed myself. The cost per result kind of varies. As you can see here, this one's at $4. These ones are at like $2. I just launched this one just a few days ago. It's only had $2,000 in spend. We are spending around $1,500 a day total, or sorry, $2,000 a day total. This one has, I think, around $500 spend. So it's ran for about 4 days now, but it was running over a weekend. Weekends don't usually do the best for us. So anyways, long story short, I'm gonna show you guys the exact same setup we ran. I'm not gonna be able to show you guys these specifically. I'm gonna show you the campaign setup I would do if I had to start all over again for this client specifically. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so let's set up this fresh campaign and show you guys exactly essentially what I did for my client. Okay, now obviously you're gonna click that big green button. You're gonna go to sales, auction type, as I mentioned before. You're gonna click continue, okay? Now we're gonna kind of go through this step by step once again so you guys are kind of informed. All right, guys, so here we are. We're gonna be going through this step by step for ecom ads now, okay? So the buying type is auction, campaign objective is for sales now. The campaign budget could be anywhere. I usually recommend for ecom anywhere from $50 to $100 a day to start getting good purchases, depending once again on the niche. If it's a little bit lower end, you can obviously spend less, get some decent amount of sales. If it's like clothing, like jewelry, stuff like that, you're probably going to want to spend anywhere from like $50 to $100 a day. Okay. So let's just say, for example, we're just going to put this at like, say 50. Okay. A/B test off. We don't need to worry about this once again. And then let's get into the actual ad set level here. All right, awesome. So we are going to have the conversion location for website. Okay, that is where we're going to be driving all the traffic to hopefully get conversions. Okay, this is what I do for all of my clients. Now, the performance goal is going to be maximum number of conversions. There's going to be so many different options here. There's going to be impressions, reach, link clicks, landing page, all that stuff. Maximize value. No, we want maximum number of conversions. Okay. The data set, you want to make sure this is active. If you're not sure how to set up a pixel, make sure to watch a YouTube video on it. There's so many videos out there. Maybe I'll drop one eventually, but make sure it is active. I'm just using this as an example account for this video. Okay. Your conversion event is going to be purchase. Once again, make sure your pixel is linked correctly. If not, it's going to ruin everything. You're not going to be getting the right conversions. People are going to be getting misled off the website. Just a whole bunch of trouble you guys don't want to have. So make sure you guys watch some sort of video, go step by step and confirm that your pixel is actually working correctly by going through the test events manager and all that sort of good stuff. Okay. So obviously it's going to give this error right now because I don't have anything set up, but obviously that's going to be gone. You guys are going to be good to go after it says conversion API and it has a green low check mark next to it. Okay. Once again, these do not matter right here. Your budget and strategy, once again, schedule does not matter. Okay. You can launch this whenever you want. So then it's going to come down to the further limit the reach of the ads again. You're going to click continue. And so if you're working with the ecom brand or you have one yourself, you obviously are going to want to target countries rather than states, because for service-based businesses, you don't want to run ads out of state because you're not going to be able to go to actually deliver the jobs. Whereas like a physical item, you can ship to pretty much anywhere in the world depending on what your shipping terms are. Okay. So let's just say I wanted to add like Canada in, for example. Okay. Boom. Now we're running for the US and Canada. Look at that audience size. It's going to say something around, 172 million to 202 million. Okay. Obviously, you may think that's going to help you convert more. Yes and no. It ultimately comes down to your product, which I've talked about a million times before. We'll get into that in another video. But anyways, long story short, let's say you want to target different countries. You can absolutely do that right there. Age, once again, comes down to ultimately what you think your audience is going to be using it for. For example, if it is like let's say, I don't know, a phone case, okay? That's pretty universal. A lot of ages can buy that. If you're doing something maybe more for like, I don't know, some sort of skin treatment, right? It's probably going to be for adults, all right? So it kind of makes sense. You know what I'm saying? You're kind of figuring out exactly who your target audience is. That's kind of for you to decide, okay? All right, once again, no custom audiences, no detailed targeting, all languages. Ad transparency, this does not matter. Placements, and that's it, okay? And now for the actual ad itself, okay? Now make sure you link the right Facebook, Instagram, and honestly, I don't think Threads really matters, but you want to link all of them to the correct account. Once again, this is just like a test example, obviously, so it doesn't really matter. And you're going to want to run usually video ads. That's usually what I always recommend for both ecom and service-based. It's just the highest converting by far. Do I recommend using AI like I did for my client? Honestly, kind of yes and no. I think it's worth maybe experimenting if you have the budget. If not so much. I'll get into a video soon enough on how to actually create AI ads, and we'll talk about that in a completely separate video. But for now, let's just say you're going to be running videos. That's what I highly recommend. Multi-advertiser ads is going to be on your website. Okay, this is very, 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 very important. Okay, if you have a website and you have multiple products and they're set with different catalogs or whatever the case may be, whatever the ad video is on, whether it's, let's say on, for example, a hoodie, for example, okay, all right, you are going to want to put that specific link. You're going to grab that link from your website for that specific hoodie, and you're going to paste it right here on the website URL. So when somebody clicks that ad, they're taken directly to the product. They're not lost trying to figure out where it's at. They're not scrolling. They're not all over the place, right? It's just essentially going to help you increase the chances of actually getting that sale because they're not having to look around. Maybe they get disinterested, stuff like that, right? I hope that kind of makes a little bit of sense. Display link does not matter. Once again, you can kind of customize and do whatever with your different optimizations and whatnot, but I usually just leave it like this, like so. Obviously, a really high converting video. You guys can look up your competitors in the space by literally going onto ads library, whatever the case may be. Creative testing, I don't do this either. Event details, you just leave that. Languages, once again, you kind of leave on or off depending on whatever you want to do. And so for your tracking as your pixel, you want this to be green. It'll say like right here that it's working properly. If you get this error right here, something is set up incorrectly and you can make sure you fix it because otherwise your ads are going to go to complete shit, okay? So once again, app setups and offline events, you could check those or set them up if you want. So that's exactly how to set up an ecom campaign. This is the exact setup I use right here for all of my clients right here. It's pretty universal. It all comes down to your creatives, your offer, what the website looks like, the trust factor behind it, your social proof, etc. Okay. So if you guys have any questions on this as well, make sure to comment them down below. I'll be sure to answer every single one of those for you guys. That's pretty much it, guys. We went in detail, showed a couple live examples and stuff as well as some numbers that we've actually generated by using these exact campaign setups. I'm gonna mention this one more time. If you guys do have any sort of questions at all whatsoever regarding this video or any sort of ad questions, comment them down below. I'm literally gonna be replying to absolutely every single one of you guys in detail. If you guys are looking to get a little bit more hands-on help with either your freelance brand scaling clients or you're running a marketing agency and you just need that extra one-on-one support and work with me directly, as well as join my community with a whole bunch of other people that are winning and making money off of freelance brand scaling, make sure to click the first link down below in the description, which is freelancebrandscaling.com. You guys can apply to work with me one-on-one there. Me and my team will reach out to you and see if you guys are a good fit. Now, if you guys are a business owner and you guys are looking for more help with ads, you're just not sure or really didn't understand this video enough, shoot me a DM over on Instagram. I'll get back to you guys as soon as possible. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace and God bless.